Hi guys, welcome back. And in this video now I'm going to be doing the CSS portion of it. First let me say, oops, let me save that. And now I want to basically do the CSS version of this to make this look a lot better. So first what I want to do is come over here and create a folder. You don't have to do this for something this simple. You can just do, you can leave it right in the same root folder, but I'm going to do, you can do like styles like that. Inside of styles, I'm going to create a new file called styles.css. You can see it gives you that. Um, and I know you have Sass, which allows you to basically program your code a little bit, and it's used basically compiles down to CSS, which is read by the browser. Um, but for this video, I'm going to just be doing regular CSS. Oh, sorry about that. So I just want to run this index HTML. When you do this, if you don't run it inside of index.html and you try to open it in the browser, it'll give you like an error saying the current editor doesn't show HTML document. So you have to be on an HTML document in order to use the open in browser, right? Like that. And so you can see everything is kind of pushed over automatically for us. You can see there's a little bit of margin here. This isn't margin, this is padding. But you can see here everything is pushed over. So what I want to do is a couple of things. First, let me close this. What I want to do is inside of styles.css, get rid of this too. Basically, I want to do everything. So usually the universal like symbol for stuff in programming with meaning everything is used a lot. It's the star symbol like that, which is above the number 8 on the keyboard. And so after you do that, you want to do curly braces. And so inside of those and everything that you do is inside of here. So for instance, in here we want to do margin. We want to just set margin to 0. You'll see what this means in a second. Padding, we want to set to 0. You see everything has the actual value, or like the key, what is named, and then a colon, and then the value, and then with a semicolon. And that's like how it basically it is. And then we also want to do a box sizing. Border box. And what that means is basically the entire element is measured in terms of its border as well, not just the inside part. And so when we save this and go back to index.html, we need to actually bring this in order to use it. See, if we go to index.html and we open it in the browser, you see it still has the padding and everything there, instead of this being all the way over to the left. Reason being is because we have to bring it inside of this head tag here. So what we do is we link it. So basically the A tags when going to different web pages and stuff. The link tag is used internally by HTML to link different files. So you can see by default it gives us style sheet. That's what we want for like the rel. Basically this is the relationship of this linked document. It's a style sheet. The href in this case though will be used to link it. So we'll go to styles CSS. You can also do a type attribute, and this will simply be text/CSS. You don't have to do that, I don't think, and it'll work the same. Like we can do it without it first just to show you. And you open it, and you can see everything's pushed over to the left now. You see everything's scrunched up. There's nothing in between here. Everything is just like that. And that's without the text CSS. We put the text CSS in there, and we run it. We get the same thing. So now, what I want to do is first get rid of all these break statements. And I also want to get rid of the horizontal rule, which is what that's called. And let me just get rid of these. You can actually select like this using Visual Studio Code, and you do Control D. You can select the next one and the next one and the next one, and you can delete them all like that. So just bring this up here like this. And now what I want to do is I want to introduce CSS. So for instance, we can do stuff with the body like this. Remember, that's the body tag. So any tag you can just include directly like that. And let's say we want to do something with the background. You can use hexadecimals like FFF for white, 000 for black. I know you got other ones as well. I think it's like, let's see, like F4, F4, F4 gives you like a light gray, I think, or something. You also got 888, I think, which gives you a gray and stuff like that. So there's different ones you can do. You can also do RGB, which you can put the red, green, and blue values in there. What I like to do a lot when doing this, because it's not something you should know, like RGB values. Clearly, I mean, there's so many different colors, you can't memorize that. Just type in color picker, and then this pops up, and it gives you the CMYK, the hex, which is that hexadecimal I just showed you, RGB, and all this other stuff here. So basically, each color you can see if I change it, these values down here change. And this is for every single color. See, black is that. Like that is white. You can do it. You can do 3 instead of 6 when it comes to these like colors that just have the same one throughout. Just to show you that there's all different colors here you can do. And so what I want to do is I want to set this, I guess, to a background of like, do like, I guess like a light gray, something like this. So we'll do C2, 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 or you can do a RGB. Um, so what I can do here is just get rid of this completely. I can just do C2, 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 like that. Let me copy that. You can also do stuff like type in the word and it'll give you like a default. But if you want to like do a custom hue of it, you want to use hexadecimal or RGB. You can also do RGBA, which is basically the alpha part of that, gives you like the transparency of it and stuff like that. Um, and so that's basically the background. So because everything is wrapped inside of this body tag, if we run this now, because remember the style sheet is linked. By the way, let me link this other one here as well. Let me go like here and just link it. Alright, let me close that for now. So you can see that this is linked. So now since I changed something here, you also want to put a semicolon. And if I come back here and run it, you can see now everything has or the website has a dark gray background here. So that's pretty cool. Now, something that I also want to do here is I want to give like the header a darker gray, so we'll do 525252. Oops. So oh yeah, it's basically just a gray, just something like back here in this in like what I'm using OBS Studio here to record the video. So a gray, something like that, or like this gray here. So this gray is actually a little bit lighter, but like something like this here, that gray. So what I want to do is you can do this many different ways. You can also put style tags in the actual head part. So if you wanted to do something like style, instead of using a style sheet, you can put it in here. And for this, basically, it's the same thing as the style sheet. So I'll just be using the style sheet. So for instance, for this header, we want to do a few things. So we can also put style tags here as well, and basically set different things. Like if you want like the width to be like 100%. Then we want a text align like this to be center. Now if I actually run this here, you can see it's at the center of the page here, and the width spans 100%, so the center will actually be the center of the page. So I mean, it's like you can put them in there as well. It's the same thing. Let me close that. But if you want to use strictly the style sheet, you can do different things. You can give this an ID. You can just call it header or something, whatever you want to call it. And then inside of here, you would simply do header, which is the ID name, and then use the number sign basically to identify that it's an ID. And we can do the same thing with 100%, text align of center. and then if we run it, we get the same thing. Um, that just shows you how to do that. Um, I can actually close this as well. And so what I want to do though is I want to put this entire section, I want to give this a class. So there's an attribute called class. And this basically, you can name it whatever you want. So I want to just call this, I can call it the same thing, but I'm just calling it app-header. And the naming convention for CSS classes and stuff, you want to use dashes instead of camel case. Camel case would be like what you use for JavaScript, like capital letter like that, and always the first word being a lowercase. But for CSS, usually they do that. And so if we bring it in here, you want to use dot for classes to represent it as a class. And so I showed you one way of width. You can do percentage. You can also do pixels, like 100 pixels. But that's hard coded, and you never want to do that because each browser size is different depending on the computer, even for mobile devices. So you don't want to use pixels like when it comes to width and stuff. We can also do different things like view heights. So I can do like, for instance, 10 view heights. View heights is like percentage. So there's 100 view heights per screen going both ways. So it'll be 100 view heights for the width, 100 for the height. And basically this will just basically calculate it. And 10 view heights would basically be like saying 10%. So it's the same thing. You can also do rim, which rim is basically 16 pixels, which rim is basically whatever the default font size is for text. So if you want to do like, for instance, up here, font, well, first let's do a font family, and then these are like font names. And then we can do font size for everything. And the font weight is like if you want it to be bold, but let's say like we want to do font size. We can do, for instance, 16 pixels, which is by default, I think, what it is. And so when we do one rim, you can see the height here will be 16. In order to see it though, let's give it a background color or background of 525252, which gives it that dark gray. And if I load this here, you can see it's pretty small and it's in the corner there. So you can barely see it. You can see because I did 100 pixels for the width, you can see it's a very small width. So keep this in the back of your mind. Actually, I'll leave this open so that we can compare it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change this width to 100% instead of 100 pixels. And you can see the height is 1 rem, which is 16 pixels. If I change this to 10 rem now, a couple things is going to change here. So when I go to index.html and I run this again, you can see now it's a lot bigger because that 16 pixels is what it's used. So now this is 160 pixels. And you can see that's similar to the 100 if you just look at it. It looks almost like double because 160 is close to 200 and this was 100 pixels. So you can kind of, oops. So you can kind of see like how that works. It just basically multiplies 16 pixels. If I basically changed this to 1 pixel for the font size throughout, and then I run it here, you can see that now even though it's 10, you can see it's very small again. So that's basically how that works. The default I think is 16 pixels, so we can actually get rid of the font size there. And what I want to do instead of using rem, I want to use view heights. So I'm going to do, like let's just do 5 view heights. And there's other units as well, but I'm just showing you like some of the ones. So basically now I want to put a border. And for the border, I want to basically just do a border bottom. So you can just do border like this. And you can go like all like the different ways you want to go, or you can just do border bottom. And so we'll do border bottom. We'll do pixels. Sorry about that. I can do 10 pixels here. And you can see it gives it a border. It's pretty huge, but you can see it's a border, and you can see the text inside of it doesn't change because the text is a separate element. So what I can do here now is instead of using 10 pixels, I can. All right, guys. So I'm back. So what I was doing before I left, I was doing the border bottom. So you can see it's the same thing. We put 10 pixels in solid. So if I save this, now I go to index HTML, and you can see here now it's just a border on the bottom. And obviously 10 pixels is a lot. Usually what I do for borders is 1 pixel. And so, I mean, I'm going to change that to 1 pixel. And I can also make it dotted just to show you that as well. And we can come back here. You can see now it's very small. You can barely see it there. 1 pixel, and then it's dotted. So I'll change it back to solid and show you again. As you can see it's a black border right there. And so that's just how you would do that. Let me get rid of all these. And so now, I want to add some styling to some of these things here that we have. So first, I know there's something called like Bootstrap you can use for custom classes. And I'm going to be doing that hopefully in another video. So for the table, the entire table, I can do like, I can give it a class and I can just call it table with, and then we can do a height for the table of like, for instance, like 10 view heights or something. And so if I show you that now, it should hopefully look a little bit different. You can see we got curved corners. It's in the center. It's 30% of the width. Or did I use 30%? 30%. So you can see it's basically 1/3 of the entire thing, basically a little bit less than 1/3. And you can see the actual text inside of the table is kind of off the edge because I didn't do that yet. But you can see that it's curved now. It's in the center. And if I change the dimensions of the screen, you can see how that looks different there as well. We put margin up and down on it, so you can see the margin as well, like that. But if I change the actual dimensions of the screen here, you can see that it's still in the center of the screen. You see these other elements are still on the right. Well, you can see it changes, but you can see the dimensions change for this as well because it's display of block. I think embed might have a display of block property automatically, or maybe it's because these are elements, but with text and different things, it can change. And you want to basically show it there, and you can see that it changes there. But you see I didn't put auto on the top, so you can see there it doesn't change. You can see it steadily gets smaller. So you can see that's how it kind of works with that. And then you can even do really quickly. Well, I guess I'll show you that at the end with media queries. So I'm just styling these things right now here. I'm gonna give a class. Now, basically, you can do ID, and you can also put class and elements inside of a class. So, like for instance, a table row, and you can like basically define things specifically for that. But I'm gonna do table row like this. I'm also gonna do a class of table header. So table header, and then I'm gonna do one for each column, which the rows and the columns are gonna be the same in terms of everything. So I'll just use the same one for that. So instead, I guess I'll call this table element. Makes more sense. And so first, let's give the table header that class that I just made. So, and this will be a table header element, but this will be table header instead of table divider, like that. And now, if I load this really quickly, we should be able to see changes. So you can see now it's actually it's there, and you can see like it's got like a border there and everything. Now you can see the table headers have that different green color, and that's because we put it here for the table like header the green color, and that's basically like that entire row. There. Alright, so you can see now I basically just put like some padding here. I changed the width to 15 view heights, basically just to make it look a little bit more like inside to make it look good. And so now basically we can just see here, it looks a little bit better. Obviously now we need to just put the styles, borders here. For the table specifically, just like to make it make more sense. And that's saying like left end element, right end element, and then middle elements or something like that. I simply just want to just put I'm gonna leave the table element here because that'll be for like a background that I want to put. And so I can do like background color. Instead of dark green, we can do like, we can do like, let's do spring green like that. And then I can basically get rid of the header element right here. And then I also want to add, I can actually overwrite the class here, which is something else I didn't show you. So like if you do like a class thing, and you're doing certain properties, you can overwrite them here. But for this, I just simply want to do, because this is on the left, this will be a border right. And it'll be that black border, 1 pixel solid, like that. And because we only got one field, we can do that for each one. So we can just take the style like that and basically put it right here too. Then we just run it here. You can see it's not the best looking table, but it just shows you that like of how you can set it up. You can put a border up here as well. I put some padding, so I can put a border for each one of these on the top and bottom for a border. I can also put a border all around it as well if I wanted to. Using like the border attribute of all around, and then for each one I could just do 3. But just to let you know, like basically I gotta do that. You can see here, this is the that's what I want to get to next actually. So below the table now, we have 2 lists here. We have the unordered list and then the ordered list. Now I can give this basically a class if I wanted to of unordered list, and I can give the other one a class of ordered list right here. I can give this a class of just a sports label. So I can do like sports label. And then you can like basically give each option a class as well as like what you want the select to look like. I could do a class for the select as well. And then I can do each option I can give a class. You can do IDs as well. I'm just showing you. Select option. Get that on the, put that on the other one. And then I can give the image a class if I wanted to. I can do class image, and then I can give the embed a class if I wanted to. I could just say a PDF file. And so basically I gotta make these classes. So for the unordered list and ordered list, they're gonna be very similar. The decoration though is gonna be different. So they call them if unordered list, they call them for the decoration, like you can do list decoration or list, they call it list style. So for the bullets, they call them type, they call them disk. So for list style type, it'll be a disk. You can also do a style of none. And there's other things you can do. You can do an actual image. I think like I can't quite remember how to do that, but you can do an image and you can put those as like each bullet point as well if you want like to put a custom image, which is pretty cool. So for the order list, we'll just do I want both of these to have some padding and a border, so I can do padding 10 pixels. And I could do a border. You can do pixels for padding if you want the hard coded. Just usually with width and height, you want to do something else because it'll look different. So we'll do padding 10 pixels. We can do a border radius without an actual border. Then I can do 5 pixels, and then we can Here we can do padding 10 pixels, then a border radius. And I'll get into transitions in this video as well for animations and then transitions as well. And then I also let me see what else is there. So the animations, transitions. I try to do a display of flex, like just show a nav bar. Then I also try to cover a grid to just display things in a grid as well. So we'll do. So this will be a pretty long video. So we'll do border radius 5 pixels as well. Let's just see what that looks like. So you can see here we got a border now. You can see over here. You can see that we have the stuff for it. Let me see. I know that's not showing up. I'm gonna give it a margin left of, just do like 10 pixels for both of these. So there you go. So it's just moved over to the left a little bit, but you can see now, you can see the bullet points and then the numbers here. So my name is Jamar, age 20, and then the same thing here. Now obviously we don't have a border, so you can't really see the border. Or we don't have a background, so you can't really see the border. But if we add a background for this, and we can do like background color, and we can do, for instance, like aqua or something. I know this is like ugly, like the actual theme of everything, like it doesn't match or anything, but I'm just trying to show you how this works. And so you can see here we have a border now, and you can see the dots and everything are outside of that border. And that's because of the padding that we just gave it. Now if we get rid of the padding and save it and run it again, you see, oh wait, this is for the list items. Well, basically the list, like the outside of the list is actually like basically the bullet points. So I guess like the padding wouldn't really affect it, as you can see here. But you can still see that the actual list itself has that. A lot of the times when you do these lists though, when people do these, they usually don't use a list decoration. They usually separate each thing, and that's like kind of what I wanted to do for mine. Um, because the disk and all that is like the HTML like default stuff, but you don't need to do that. You can just simply, so first let's put the padding back here, and I want to actually do a list style type of none for both of them. And you can see there's other ones too that you can do here, but I'm gonna do none, and actually this should be none as well, and that should be just list style. And then I want to, for each list item, I can give a class, and what I can do for that is simply give it like some margin bottom to separate each one, or margin top. And then I can do like each item, I give a background and stuff. So I can just do like this item like that. And I can give each one of these class of list item. Put them in here like this. And then I can come here and do list item. And inside of here, I just want the background color to be, let's do let's do like red. And then we'll make the color for the text inside of it white. So you can do color like that. And then it refers to the text inside of the element if there is any. Now if the text is inside of another element inside of that element, then you have to refer to that element in order to change the color of the text. But because the text is inside of the list item, we can put the color there, like we can change it like that. And then we can give it that border radius 5 pixels. Then we can do a margin top of 5 pixels. So now when we go here and look at this, you can see here now we have like the You see the padding and everything, but you can see there's margin in between each list item. You can see it's a border of red. Now, basically, what you also want to do is for the actual list, you can also do a display of block, and then you can do instead of just margin left, you can do margin. We can change this here, so we can do margin like that, and I can do up down if I want to. So I can do like review heights for up down, left and right of auto, like that. And then I also could do like above that, like I say a width, and I want to do like a width of 30% again. I can just copy all three of these and put them here. So we can get rid of the margin. Just put that there like that. And then when I like run this here, you can see now that it looks a little bit better. I think the border radius didn't change because of the padding. Let me put an actual border there and see if maybe that'll change it for that. Let's do border red 1 pixel solid. Let's try that. Yeah, I think it's the padding. I don't usually do like padding like that for my list anyway. But I was just trying to show you how it works. I usually only do a background for the list, but you can. And basically, you can put anything in a list item. You can put a div of other elements inside of a list item. You can do that as well. I guess I'll show you like flex here because I'm probably not going to put a nav bar, but I'll show you like flex and how that works right now. So if I change instead of block, if I change this to flex, it'll move it back over. But I just want you to see what this does here. So you can see it puts everything on one line here. You can see there's no space because I didn't put a margin in front of it. If I put like, for instance, if I put a margin, a margin right for each item here, if I to just help you see it better, and then I'll run it. You can see basically this margin right there, but you can see now this the flex puts it all on one line. This one doesn't have the flex, this one does. And then if you want to simply, if you just want to simply change this flex to flex type, so you can do flex direction, and you can do column. And then if we come back here and run it, you can see it changes it back to a column. So I mean, flex just allows you to put everything on one line, and what usually happens is you can do an unordered list, get the list decoration to none, put the nav bar as a flex, and then you can put each link as a div inside of a list item, which is what you that's like one use case of it. Like, so there's different things you can do with that. I just wanted to show you that. So now let me see what else. So you can see we have the select the select here as well. We can mess with that. So we can do what we at here. So first we have the label. So for the label, I want some margin. So we'll do sports label. I just want some margin. And so we'll do. So I can put the whole thing in div, and I guess I'll show you that too, just because it would make more sense. So we'll do a div like that. Also, there's different abbreviations. Like you can do a type, not type, but like you give it a class. Like I can do tuna, and you can see it'll give it a class for you. You can do ID. I forgot how to do the ID one, but usually like there's different like things you can do for like abbreviations, and it'll like fill it out for you. Let me just put this in here really quick. And so the div, basically, we can give a container. So we can do like a class select container. And so right above the sports label, we can do select container. And then basically we can do display block. And then margin is where we'll do the 3 view heights. And then we can do auto for left and right. And then here we can just simply do margin top.
of 1 view height. And then here I want to do a border. We'll do 3 pixels. And then I want it to be black. And then I want a border radius. That. And I'll give it, we'll do 10 pixels this time. And so then we got the sports label here, so we can do text, and we can make that whatever we want. The background is gray. Let's make the text white. And then we can do I mean, we can even give this a background if we want, so we can do like width of 100%, which will take up 100% of whatever it's inside of in terms of the container. We can even do a padding of like left and up, down, like we can do a padding of up and down of 5 pixels, 0 left and right, and then we can give it a background color, and we can give it like teal or something. And then right below that we can have the actual select list. So I think I gave that a class of select and select option for each option here. And so for the class of select, it'll basically be margin top. And it'll just be like 5 pixels, and then we can do like a border of whatever the background is of the actual site. I think I used C2, C2, C2. You can also do transparent, but I'm gonna do C2, C2, C2. You can do transparent like that, but I'm gonna do 1 pixel and solid, and then basically I just want it to be a border radius of like 5 pixels. And then for each select option, we can do the same thing. I'm not even sure if I need to do one for the select option. Let me see. Go to browser. Oops. So you can see we have a border now. Basically, I didn't put this. I could have gave this a display of flex if I wanted to. So a few things we can change. First, the actual container needs to have a width. So that width is going to be like, we can do 30% again. And then first, let's see how that looks. You can see there. Now what we can also do, we can do, I'm not sure if justified content will work here now. Let's see. That basically justifies it left and right. Usually you do that with flex. Yeah, it didn't work here. Usually you would do that like with a flex display. So what I want to actually, let me get rid of that. What I want to actually do here now is I want to say, instead of a display of block, I want to do a display of flex like that. And then I want to do flex direction. And I want to do column. So now if we look at this here, you can see it works there like that. And then you can see you don't have to do a display of block for it to change. The margin auto is just works with flex as well, as you can see. It changes everything, and because both of these are set to 100%, if you notice, when I change this here, it changes with it. And so you can see when I expand this again, well, first let me add some padding so you can see it better, because I don't know if you can really see that. So we can do like padding 10 pixels, and then if I come here again, you can see basically we have that, and then we have this here. As you can see, it's curved. Same background as the background of the website there. You can see it's curved for each one here. If you can select another one, and it's still the same thing. Even when you highlight it, you can see here. Something I didn't also show you is you can actually right click and inspect. And if you're using Google Chrome or any browser, it brings up dev tools for you. I think you can also do it using F12, and it just shows you everything we've been doing here. What you click on, it shows you what's affected by it here and everything like that. The head, the body tags, and what's everything in there. You can see the comments, all the stuff there, so that's pretty cool. Those are React developer tools there if you're doing the framework React. So basically, next I want to style the pictures, and then I want to style the embed. So I use image for that, and then PDF file. So for the picture, for image, if we come down here, I can do use as many style sheets as you want to. I use one, but you can link as many as you want. When you use Bootstrap, you link the style sheet for Bootstrap. And if you want to use jQuery with Bootstrap, you will put the script tag here, which I didn't show you. I will in the JavaScript portion of this. Not the Bootstrap, but just like how to put the script tag in there for JavaScript. So I want to do a margin top here. And I would just do like 5 view heights. And then for the image, we'll do a display of block. And then I want to do so actually I'm gonna change this. It'll be margin up, down, and left, right, auto, like that. And then I want to do a width. So I want to do 30 view heights for the width, which is like almost a third of the screen. And the height I'll do 30 view heights as well. And then I want to do a border. And I'll do I guess we'll do a black border, and then we'll do let's see, we'll do 3 pixels. Solid. That. And then a border radius of 10 pixels. And so just to show you what this looks like here, if we run it, you can see here now it's there. And you can see it covers it pretty well. You can also do an overflow of hidden on the image. And you can see if I do the overflow hidden, that'll basically, if you weren't using a border and you're putting in another container, it will just basically make the corners of the image, if it stick out, it will make it hidden inside of the container. You can see that we got our image. For instance, let me skew the image really quick and mess it up. Let me just take the S off and save it. And then if I run this, you can see we actually get the alt name instead inside of there, which is beach, just to show you that as well. Okay, so now let me do the embed file. So that's PDF-file. And so for the PDF one, we'll do PDF file. And for this, I want to just simply just set the width and height. You can also like put corners around this as well. You can do a border and everything like that if you want to. For this, I'm just going to do a width, and I'm going to do like, for this, I'll do like 2/3, so 60%. And I want a display of block, margin of preview heights auto. And then I want the height to be, I'm gonna do hard code for this one just because you can always like change. I'll do 600 pixels. Because that's I think like one that I used in the past and it looks really good. So we'll do index, open it up. You can see here when we scroll, you can see now 60% for the width here, and then now you can see it's 600 for the PDF, and you can scroll there and everything like that. So that's pretty cool. You see, it gives you options to download and print as well. So and it's a net title of the PDF there. So that just shows you how to do all the different elements there and everything. So that's like basically, I think, like a decent. It looks ugly, I know, like, but it's just a decent way of showing you stuff. That goes to the next page here. So that'll be it for the CSS. Oh, whoa. Nope, that's not it. I almost forgot. I have to show you how to do animations. So for this, what I want to do is, so we can put these wherever we want. So for instance, like you can do a class without the animation and one with. You can also do a transition, so when you're like hovering over something. I'm gonna show you how to do both, or like when you're clicking on something. So I'm gonna show you how to do those. So for the animation, though, I kind of want to come back here and create a button that doesn't go anywhere. But but basically it's gonna have a class of btn, and I'm just going to say click me, and I'm going to make that class in a second. First, though, I want to create the animation. So for the animations, you can see we have the app header, and then we have the ID header, which is the H1. Actually, I'm going to call this header title just for it to make more sense here. So the app header, the class of header, we can do something called animation. So we can do animation, and you can use the animation thing all together and put the name and everything. But I think doing it separately, it makes more sense, at least for me. I can do name, and for the name, you can name this whatever you want. I'm gonna just say header show, and then you can do a duration for your animation. So I'll do 2 seconds. You can do milliseconds as well, I think, and then you can do fill mode, which I'll show you why that's important. So I'll keep that off for now. Um, and so for the animation though, you need to make something called keyframe. So in order to do that, you have to do at keyframes like that. Um, and then you gotta actually put the name of the animation, so it'll be hit or show because that's what we named it. So it can link it to this CSS class or ID, whatever you want to put there. And so now we can do percentages. So 0%, that'd be the first animation. I'm gonna do something like I'm gonna do like position. So there's something like called top, bottom, left, and right. And so top, if you do negative, it'll basically go above the browser window that you can see, so it'll be off the screen. And then for 50%, I can do something like top 10 view heights, which changes it. So now it'll be 10 view heights above the screen. And then 100% will be 0 view heights, or basically where it's used to being at. So um, 0 like that. And then if we run this here, you'll see that it'll come in there. Oh, wait, 1 second. Wait, class app header. Oh, let me make this, oh, wait, cancel. Let me make this position relative like that. You can do fixed position, but I'm going to do a relative position. I think that's what I got to put there for that. Also, I'm going to give this an animation delay, which you can do as well. So we can delay it for like 2 seconds. So now like it'll delay for 2 seconds before it actually does anything. And you see how it came in there. Now you can see to start off, it actually showed us something else. And that was like the actual image there. And that's because inside of here, that's how we had it start because we delayed it. Now, if I take this off, and let's just say, let's do 5 seconds. Let's make it extremely slow. Let's do it now. You can see it's not here. And you can see it took 5 seconds to come in there. We also could do, oops. So we can do like animation timing. I think like this. And basically you can do different ones. You can do ease in, ease out. Ease in, basically it accelerates. Ease out, it decelerates. Ease in and out, it accelerates and decelerates. You can also do linear, which makes it constant in terms of the motion of the animation, just to show you that. But if I run this, or if I just bring this up, you can see it stays. But what if we, for instance, I'm gonna just get rid of this for right now. What if instead I just did app header with a position of relative width of 100%? Or if I just do app header, I do animation name, uh, actually that's not a good example. Let me actually bring this back. What I'm gonna do is for the 100%, I'm gonna change the background. So for the background color or background, I'm gonna change that property to Um, let's just say blue. So let me like go here and run this again and show you. Do you see how it turned back gray? That's because when the animation is done, it goes back to what it originally was. Now to fix that, if you don't want that to go back to what it originally does, you have to use a property called animation fill mode and then forwards like that. Now I'm gonna change this duration to 2 seconds again because 5 is a little too long for me. And then I'm gonna run this again. Now if we run it 2 seconds and it doesn't turn back. So now it's blue and it stays that way. So that's pretty cool. Um, Also, I mean, we can like get like more like complex with it if you want to. We can do like for instance, um, we could do at 80%. We can do like a top, and we can do like 20 view heights like that. And we can change it like background, and we can do like red like that. And so now if we run it to see what that looks like, you see like it was red, and then it basically faded to blue, and then it also went up. So we can do many crazy things that we want to do with this. You can only imagine, like we can do all types of things. We can have it flying all over the screen if we wanted to. So next, I wanted to show you the transition, and that's what I brought this button in for, just so to show you that. So class of BTN. It's gonna be a display block. There's gonna be a width of like, for instance, do 20%. Text align of center for the text. The color will be like white. It'll be a red. Oops. It'll be a red background, so we can do background color red. And so now it's like, let me just render this to show you what it looks like. Let's also give it a margin of 3 view heights up, down, left, right of auto. And so let me just show you that. You can see there's a button at the bottom and it says click me like that. You click and it doesn't do anything. And so what I wanted to show you is I want to bring in something called a transition. And with transition, you can pretty much put whatever properties you want. So I can do, for instance, I can do a border radius. Um, if I wanted to, and then I can do, so we can give this a border as well. So we can do a border red, 1 pixel solid. And so we can do border radius for the transition property. Um, and many other things. We can even do the height as well, with a comma. And so for transitions, they work differently from animations because they're not done automatically by the actual program. So what you have to do is like if you had an ID, and then you would just do like colon, you can do hover. You can do active, which means when it's clicked. There's different ones. So for the class of button, I want to do, for instance, let's do hover to show you that. And so we also want to do a transition duration. So you want to do, we can do 2 seconds. And so for what I want to, we'll just change the black like that. And so you can see now, basically it takes 2 seconds and it changes the color to black like that. As you can see, I don't know why it's not working with the other things there. I'm not entirely sure, but you can see it changes it when we hover over it, which is pretty cool. Also, we can do, um, we can change this to active. And so now let's get rid of both of those so we can see it a little bit better. Um, let's give it some more margin just so that we can see it. And now basically if I click on it, you see like if I continue to click on it, so I'm clicking rapidly and you can see each time it gets closer and closer to black. And the moment I stop clicking it, it goes back to white like that. So basically that's like active. So when you click it one time each frame, it basically changes it a little bit. So it's almost like you can make little games out of this. Like for instance, like I don't know, like basically just like little games that people could play like that. Not saying that you should. I'm just saying that like this is kind of what this reminds me of. Like don't stop clicking or something like that. So basically, that's how you would do that. That covers basically everything. Let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to do? You can do multiple transitions as well. You can even delay certain transitions or delay certain animations if you want. So, for instance, like um, if you wanted to bring in like a certain button or something like that to like have it fade in. For instance, like I'll put a transition on like uh, I'll put a transition on the image, or not a transition, but an animation. So we'll do animation name. Just to show you another animation. You can animate any of the properties, but I'm gonna show you another one. So we'll do like image show, I guess we'll call it animation duration. We'll do 2 seconds. Animation fill mode. We'll do forwards, and then I also want to do animation delay, and we'll delay it for 2 seconds. And so right below the picture, I'll do keyframes like that. And we want to put the name here. We'll do image show. And so for 0%, I just simply want it to be an opacity of 0, meaning like it's like the same as the alpha value. Opacity of 1 means it's showing. Oops, and that's it. So that's all I wanted to put there for that. If we come here, you can see the animation here, and you can see the image basically doesn't show. By default, though, if you don't want the image to show, you got to put opacity of 0 here as well by default, so it won't show, which I forgot to do. And so if we run this again here, you can see 2 seconds and then the image shows up, and then that changed as well. So I mean, it's so many different things you can do here. Um, I can even have these run at the same time without any issues. So if I don't want that to delay for 2 seconds, I can do like I can just take that off, and then I can just run this again. Oh wait, let me go here. Let me get rid of that. Let me go here again, and now I can run it, and you can see it shows up and that happens. So that just shows you all the different things you can do with that, or a lot of the stuff you can do with that. Actually, I also want to show you like a media query, which I didn't do. So I can come here at the very bottom. You can put these anywhere. Media, like there's different ones like only, like there's different ones like screen, print. Um, Basically, though, I'm gonna just do media, and it's like usually what people use these for is like for responsive websites. So like mobile, like phones, they have a certain width. Basically tablets. And so, for instance, we can do stuff like max width, and that would be like basically no width greater than. Then I want to just simply do max width of, for instance, 700 pixels. And then you can put whatever you want to change in there. So, for instance, I can take this section in a table as well as the list, and I can do like a display of none. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the dot section. I'm gonna do the dot table class. I'm gonna just do a display of none, which doesn't basically not only is like it's not like doing visibility of hidden where it just makes it not shown or like visible where it is showing. Display of none takes it completely off the screen, and so it also changes the styling of it. And so I can also do another media query. I think like for phones, the max width would be something. You can also do like horizontal or landscape mode and stuff. But I'm gonna do max width. I think for phones it's something like 480 pixels. Um, you want to use pixels because that's like the for the screens. And so I can do like, for instance, I can do like the select. I can do visibility of hidden. I can do for the image, I can do display of none as well as the PDF viewer, just to show you this. Display. And then if I open this, so now if I do this, you can see here the but first let's kind of like just bring it over here. So if I make it bigger, you can see the table comes back. And if I do that, you can see it gets rid of it after a certain number of pixels. So 700 pixels, and it gets rid of the table, right? But you can see I can also do, you can see the image gets smaller too. It's responsive. See that? But I can do, you see everything gets smaller. Can I do 480 with this? Let's see. In order to show this, let me like make this a little bit bigger. Let's do like, we'll do 580. 480 would be for what you want to do with phones, but I'm just, in order to like, obviously to put it on the screen, I need to like make it a certain size to show you. So you can see those go away completely. Um, you can see it goes away. And each time you can see when I do it, because the animation's always on it, you see it fades when it comes back. So that's pretty cool. And the visibility of hidden, um, actually you can see like it works similar to display of none, but usually display of none gets things completely off the page when you want it to. And that just shows you like media queries and how to do different things. You can change the color of certain things. For instance, I'm going to show you one more. So I can do like, for instance, in a media query with 580, I can do like for the button, I can change the background color to like yeah, we'll do like gold or something like that. Oops. And so now I can come here again and do that, and then you can see here is gold. Um, you can see here it shows you that as well. Just check something. Also, if you notice there, the transition, you can see I click on it and it turns black, but the transition was like it turned like basically by default is black and it turned white. Um, Basically because the transitions also run as animations on the first like render, you could say. So like, you can use transitions as animations, but typically at least for right now, I usually do the two separately. But you can do transitions as animations, and basically, um, because if by default the color was white, you can see it faded to white. Like to start off, it wasn't just like, for instance, like it wasn't just white when it first came on the screen. I don't know if you guys saw that. Let me do it one more time here. Um, Pay attention to the button. You can see it was black and then it turned to white like that. So that's pretty cool. And you can see this all the text is always centered here, and the animation was still running decently. So that just shows you how to do all that there. You can also put text align center for those. That just shows you the CSS part of everything. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like in the leave a like and if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment if you have questions, and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time.